I'm going to be reading you a book today about pumpkins, but I want to show you it up close. So I'm just going to read it and you're going to look at the book really closely, okay? So here's the book. It's just sitting on the table in front of me. It's called Perfect Pumpkins. And then inside this book, there's a table of contents. There's 3 different chapters where they discuss different things. And it says, in chapter 1 is called All About Pumpkins. Do you know what is great about pumpkins? Every pumpkin is different. Take a peek. Pumpkins can be tall or short. They can be smooth or bumpy, or round or lopsided. Look at all those different shapes. And it says, pumpkins are not vegetables. They are a kind of fruit called a gourd. So even though some of us might think of them as vegetables, anything that has seeds on the inside is usually a fruit, including tomatoes. Pumpkins can be small or big. This little white pumpkin weighs less than 1 pound. This giant orange pumpkin weighs 450 pounds. So this little white one, it's called a baby boo, weighs less than 1 pound. And this huge one weighs like 450 pounds. It's crazy. And do you know what is inside of a pumpkin? It is full of gooey pulp. There are also lots and lots of seeds. So 2 things that you're gonna see inside. The pulp, that's the stuff that makes it really slimy. So when you're like carving a pumpkin and you put your hand in that goo, that really gooey stuff, that's called pulp. And then the seeds are resting inside the pulp. The pulp is like its protection, and the seeds are in there. And then these tiny seeds can grow into a big pumpkin. If we were in the classroom right now, I might even take some seeds and plant them, and so we can watch them grow. And this chapter is called Growing Pumpkins. And you might try it at your house too if you can. It said, this tiny plant is called a sprout. So once you put the seed in the dirt or the soil, you water it, you let it be in the sunlight, it's gonna start to sprout. How do pumpkins grow? Seeds are planted in the spring. The seeds grow into little plants that poke out through the ground. This is a vine. See this long thing? Now, you know how we talked about apples and how apples grow on a tree. Well, pumpkins do not grow on a tree. They grow on a vine because they get so heavy that if they were up in the tree, they would just fall out. So a vine lays across and grows across the bottom of the ground like this, so that when this little pumpkin right there becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and so heavy, then it's at least laying on the ground. By the way, a pumpkin, before it is a pumpkin, is also a flower. The flower looks like this up close. The plants keep growing until they are long and twisty. Now they are called vines. The vines have pretty yellow flowers. Pumpkins need both sun and water to grow. Some of the flowers turn into baby pumpkins. In summer, the pumpkins are green and tiny, but each day they get a little bigger, just like the way the apple does. So remember, you can see like on the end of that, that's where right there, that's where the flower used to be, and it shriveled up and died, and the pumpkin grew. And at first they're green like this, but then as they keep growing and growing and growing, they start changing. Pumpkins grow in a pumpkin patch. In fall, the pumpkins are all grown up. They are also bright orange and ready to pick. So just like apples are ready in the fall, pumpkins are also ready in the fall. Pumpkin treats. It is fun to go pumpkin picking in the fall. There are so many pumpkins. Which one would you choose? There are lots of things you can do with pumpkins. You can make a pumpkin pie. It says people use pumpkins to make bread, muffins, soup, and ice cream. You can bake the seeds in the oven for a crunchy treat. Even the seeds you can eat. Pumpkin seeds are good for you. They're healthy. Another thing you can do with pumpkins. You can even carve a pumpkin face. It can be scary or super silly. Wow, pumpkins are one perfect fruit. A pumpkin with a carved face is called a jack-o'-lantern. Once you put a face on it, it's not really called a pumpkin anymore. It's called a jack-o'-lantern. All right, that's the end. And this year, we aren't going to be able to go on a field trip to the pumpkin patch, but maybe you and your family could go and you can go pick out your own pumpkin.